Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Engel, for convening this markup and bringing up all of these important measures in front of our committee in a bipartisan manner, as you always do. I would also like to express my strong support for House Resolution 536, introduced by my dear friend Albio Ceres, of which I am the lead Republican sponsor. Freedom of expression is under attack in Latin America. We've seen it in Venezuela, where the Maduro regime has used intimidation and control of the media to repress the opposition. Courageously, the opposition was able to beat the odds and took control of the legislature by a supermajority just this past weekend. I congratulate the Venezuelan people on their tremendous win, but there's still a long road ahead. We need all political prisoners to be released immediately, including pro-democracy advocate Leopoldo Lopez. In Nicaragua, Ortega just forced through a new sovereignty security law that could be used to further harass and intimidate the people and the media to impede freedom of expression. I worry that Ortega will use this as yet another tool to clamp down on civil society, silence the media as we approach next year's presidential election. In Cuba, as both of you have pointed out, the Castro regime continues to control all print and broadcast media and blocks and censors the internet. The regime also threatens, beats, jails, and tortures any perceived opposition, intimidating the Cuban people into self-censorship. Cuba has long been infamous for these tactics, but we also see it in Venezuela, Nicaragua, Bolivia, Ecuador, many like-minded dictatorships in Latin America, regimes that want to control the flow of information to stay in power, repress any dissent, before their survival is threatened, employ these tactics. It's crucial that we as a country continue to speak out against these tactics and that we do everything that we can to stand up for this fundamental human right to express freely one's views. I thank Albio for offering his important resolution. I offer my full support, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. I also want to thank my friend and colleague from Florida, Dr. Ted Yoho, for introducing House Resolution 346, condemning Assad for committing mass atrocities and for the use of chemical weapons, including chlorine barrel bombs. I was an original co-sponsor of this measure, and I fully support it. This important resolution reminds us all of the grim reality and the true nature of the Assad regime. The idea that Assad should be part of a political solution, or that he can be a partner in the war against ISIS and the war against terror, is appalling. Assad's ruthless tactics and wanton disregard for human rights and the sanctity of life has been a key reason why the Syrian conflict has been so devastating and why ISIS has grown dramatically. Assad's actions have led to the deaths of over 220,000 Syrians. Because of Assad, we have millions of refugees fleeing into the Middle East and Europe, destabilizing these regions and taxing their resources. In July, the Wall Street Journal reported that U.S. intelligence agencies concluded that the Assad regime did not give up all of its chemical weapons. And now some reports suggest that ISIS may be in possession of chemical weapons as well. And what has been the punishment from the international community for Assad's deception? Nothing. So if the international community is not willing to punish Assad for using chemical weapons and then lying about destroying all of its stockpiles, what faith do we have in keeping the Iranian regime accountable for its nuclear weapons program? This is a very dangerous situation, Mr. Chairman, and I believe that it is not receiving the attention it merits. So that's why I thank my Florida colleague, Dr. Yoho, for bringing this bipartisan resolution forward. I urge my colleagues to support this measure and condemn the use of chemical weapons. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member.